Today you are presenting an exhibition that comes to Italy about the Pink Floyd. Have you ever thought in more than 50 years that you are in the music that Pink Floyd, that your art can be in a museum or an exhibition?
I'd actually, there's one thing in the exhibition that I've seen in a museum before, and it's a box like that with two levers sticking out. And we called it the azimuth coordinator, but it was actually the first ever quadraphonic sound panpots. I've seen that in the Science Museum in London. They have it as a permanent exhibit in the Science Museum, and it's been borrowed for this. So, but no, in general terms, no, I couldn't have imagined that anybody would put this together.
And rock music in a museum? What about rock music in a museum? Anything to do with music in a museum is, why not? I see no reason why not. I come from Cambridge, and so there were museums in my life, because the Fitzwilliam in Cambridge is a wonderful museum, and I used to go there. I used to go as a child and look at all kinds of ethnic artifacts from all over the world, and so I was fascinated by Native American culture in North America and stuff like that. So you think that this exhibition, or apart from your music that really does it, I mean, this exhibition can inspire people to move and think different?
That I don't know. I mean, that would be quite a claim to make. I mean, does the music do that? I hope so. Actually, some of the response I've had to the new record is people going, "Wow, you're still banging on about not quite the same old stuff, but feels new but old, but whatever. But it's powerful. It makes people think." And actually, a lot of people have said to me about is this the life we really want? It sort of makes them feel better that there is a record like this, that they recognize as being part of what used to be, I don't know, an attachment to the passing of time, and an attachment to the idea that to look at the ways that we human beings relate one to another is kind of important. It's what the whole of literature and all art has always been about, really.
And it's true for you, because your music has changed, you have changed, but your idea of art and the importance of human relationship has never changed.
No.
So how much do you think that music can change people's mind today? Not yours, not only yours, but people listen to the music very differently than was before.
I have no idea, but it may be that if you listen to a piece of music, and I do, and we live in different countries, or we live in different cultures, or we live on either different sides of ideological or religious walls of some kind or another, then maybe the fact that we listen to the same music provides us with a bridge, or that it's a bit like, if we read Orwell or something, it doesn't matter who we are really, or what country we come from, or we can attach to the ideas, or any great writer or whatever, and through reading, through literature, or through visual arts, or through music particularly, we can communicate one with another. It is true that Pythagoras 3,000 years ago figured out the relationship between mathematics and music originally, and so we are still mystified and delighted by the fact that base E is 40 cycles per second, and 1 octave up it's 80 cycles per second, and 2 octaves up it's 160. So that the relationship between simple harmonic motion and math, so the natural laws of physics are beautiful in every way.
You do live shows that are more than concerts, because you speak to people, you communicate with people, you entertain people. So how much do you spend thinking about the concert that you propose? I mean, it's always been like that with Pink Floyd, but now you are completely in control
of the things you do?
There's a basic, putting this show together, there are really prosaic questions that come at the beginning of the process. I hate to admit this, but they do, which is going, oh, Christ, how much of the old shit have I got to do? Not that it's shit, I wouldn't do anything that I thought was shit, but Pink Floyd stuff. How much should I do? I still have to put bums on seats. You know, I could be as brave as Neil Young and go out and do my new little play about people living in a small town in wherever it was. He did that thing, Green Acres or whatever it was called, and people didn't like it. And they went, what's that? I don't want to see that. I want to hear Old Man, and you know, I want to hear Harvest Moon. I want to hear your songs. And so if you're sort of either sensible or not, I think, okay, I've got to provide something which is palatable, but how can I move people as well? So 75% of this show is material that I wrote with Pink Floyd, and the other 25% is new songs of the new album. And I think it's about right. I might be able to squeeze in one more bit from the new record, and maybe I will at some point, but maybe not. But I invite people to come and love, but also suffer with me. The people cry at the show. They weep when we're doing Us and Them, you know. And I have these pictures of these young women, one from Caracas in Venezuela, from the one favela, and a Yemeni girl who was killed a number of years ago, whose image actually comes from the documentary Dirty Wars. Anyway, so I have people weeping, and I you know, but then we get towards the end of the show, we do Brain Damage and Eclipse, and there's and then the pyramid appears, and everybody is like transported into a place of the acceptance of universal love and cooperation between blah, 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 and it's a beautiful thing. It sounds corny, but it's not. It's palpable. You can feel it. You can feel it happening in the thing. Yeah, and it's a real roller coaster of a journey. But at the end of the day, it invites people to experience their capacity for loving themselves. You have to love yourself before you can love anybody else, I would suggest.
May I ask you one last question?
Yeah.
You really created worlds for people like me that listen to the music and saw your concert for all these years. And you never lose your mind. Is that something that was difficult to do? Because you have a power. You are like God in many ways, because you create something that normal people doesn't do. So have you ever feel powerful? Have you ever feel potentially God?
No. I mean, the song that started me to make the new record is the song Deja Vu, which starts with the lyric, if I had been God, blah, 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 blah. I'll tell you, this is the last thing I'll tell you, but it's really important. There is, the last verse of that song is not on the record, because when Nigel Godrich did the final editing of the thing, he wanted the shape of it, and he removed the end of the song. The second half of the song was gone. And so, but I'll tell you what it is. I actually like the fact that it exists, that I wrote it, that it's there, and that I can tell people it. It's this. He removed it because if you listen to it in a particular way, you can make a reference to Israel-Palestine, and he wanted to keep any reference to any of that out of this record. It's this. If I had been God, I would not have chosen anyone. I would have laid an even hand on all my children, every one, would have been content to forego Ramadan and Lent, time better spent in the company of friends, breaking bread and mending nets.
Many thanks. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Hey, thank you.